This week on Cruisin' New England. Vintage warbirds and helicopter rides. This week we cruise higher than ever before, right here on Cruisin' New England. I'm Paul Manette, and I want to welcome you to another edition of Cruisin' New England. Today we're in Chicopee, Massachusetts at the Westover Municipal Airport. Today it's antique airplanes and warbirds. All this and more on Cruisin' New England. All my life, I've been cruising New England, meeting great people, visiting amazing places, and discovering wonderful classic and custom car collections, nostalgic automobilia, and so much more. Come on and join our adventure. I'm Paul Manette. Let's go cruising. Closed captioning for Cruisin' New England on Nesson is being brought to you by New England Recycling. Waste put to work. Cash for Gold, the place to sell your unwanted gold and diamonds. Where you sell your jewelry is as important as where you buy it. We at Cash for Gold are gold and diamond specialists. We will buy all size diamonds, gold chains, rings, bracelets, silver coins, and even broken jewelry. Often we pay 2 to 3 times higher than pawn shop prices. We also pay up to 90% of the daily price of both diamonds and gold. We are the original, authentic, family-run Cash for Gold and have been for over 35 years. Visit us at 527 South Broadway, Route 28 in Salem, New Hampshire.
Your special moments are something to remember. For weddings, portraits, and special events, contact Sparks Fly Photography.
Hi, I'm Jerry from Auto Rust Technicians. We've been welding and sandblasting and undercoating cars for over 35 years. If you got those problems, give us a call.
Hi, I'm Jim Grundy, your expert for old car insurance. For 60 years, my family's been insuring old cars, and for 40 of those years, we haven't had a rate increase. We believe we can save you up to 50% or more in your old car insurance. Did I say 50? You bet I did. I know some companies say 15, but I mean 50 or more. For the best rates and the best coverage you can buy on your old car, call or visit us online.
I'm Dick Shappy and deal in the finest classic motor cars, cycles, and vintage parts to collectors all over the world, but we're right here in New England. Vintage cars are like vintage wine. Both get better with proper care and time. I offer a luxury experience that's by appointment only. So check out my website, classiccars.ws, or call me at 401-521-5333 to find your personal piece of history.
We're back, and I'm with Bob Holson. He's one of the organizers of the first ever Great New England Wings and Wheels Show.
Yeah, it's something we decided to put on. With all the military cuts in the last year or two, they've been unable and canceled most of the air shows in New England. So this is the next best thing, to bring the planes into a warbird area where people can walk around, feel, touch, look inside an airplane, and still get that opportunity without being able to have a full air show. So as our first crack, one thing we do well is we bring airplanes in for air shows. So we brought in all the vintage, non-military planes. People love to come and see it, and we mix that with a car show.
Sounds good. So you have a car show, you got all types of warbird airplanes?
Yeah, we have helicopter rides, we've had biplane rides. Everybody comes out from all ages to see these World War II planes.
I'm all excited, I'm ready to get going. A lot of my viewers go to car shows, and this is a lot like going to a car show. You get to view these airplanes right up close and even talk to some of the owners.
It is. It's a car show for airplanes. They're all parked here. You can walk around, and like a car show, everybody likes to talk about their airplane. So it's a really cool event. It's just giving them the opportunity to do that.
Now, some of these airplanes have come from all over the Northeast.
Yeah, we have a bunch from an air museum in Long Island, a bunch of private owners. People just like cars, love to show off their airplanes.
Sounds good to me, and I'm ready to have a look at some of them.
Let's go.
Okay. Now I'm here with Tom Casey. Tom, this appears to be the largest plane in the show.
It may well be. It's the 1947 Grumman HU-16 Albatross. It was designed in 1947 for open ocean search and rescue.
Now the size of this plane, How many? I mean, what is the size and what does this thing weigh?
It's a transport category airplane. It weighs 33,500 pounds max gross weight for land and 29,000 pounds max gross weight for water. And if you look out and see the floats are also fuel tanks.
Now, so you're saying that this thing goes out into the ocean and actually lands in the ocean
Yes.
to do a rescue. Now, that can be quite dangerous.
That's very dangerous. In fact, one of the problems they had with the airplane is that the airplane could do the mission, but keeping the pilots qualified to do the mission in those extremely ever-changing sea conditions and challenging sea conditions, the open ocean, was a problem. And there is a hatch back there that is designed to bring in an engine and a spare propeller to take to a remote location to make a fix on an airplane that's been damaged, and they had a lot of those incidents as well. However, as a private owner of this airplane and as an instructor, I've been teaching in this airplane for the last 18 years. It is a really sweet machine. There's nothing like it, and it was the design, the research, the development went into this was the best that was available in the late 40s, post-war. It has reversible propellers. It has round engines. It is really an airplane that typifies the art and the science of flying. It is an art based on a science, even starting these engines.
Now, you know what's intimidating for me? To look at this board.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff on there.
Well, it's typical. As I said, I'm a retired airline pilot, and every new airplane I've ever gotten into, I'm overwhelmed with the differences and with the amount of data that comes to you from these instruments. These are old steam gauges, as we call them, but I love these old gauges, and what happens is once you get used to it, it's just like anything else, like driving a car.
Now, when you found this airplane, did it look this nice?
It was actually, I've got a picture of it here. I'll show it to you. This is the photo of the airplane as it was in Davis-Monthan Air Force Base, the boneyard, as we call it, down in Tucson, Arizona. And as you can see, it required a little bit of work.
Well, that's a complete rebuild.
This hull is a seriously well-made hull, and you can't just put that together. You can reconstruct it, but it would cost tens of millions of dollars to do it from scratch.
Wow. So how long did it take you to restore it?
In 2007, I began to really do it, and it took 3.5 years.
And it must have been quite a job just to assemble the parts for this.
The parts they do exist. They exist among a small group of aviators, enthusiasts, and collectors. But like cars, you can get the parts, you can fabricate the parts. The main thing is, can you fly the airplane safely? And that's the big challenge, because you have to work to learn how to fly it, and then you have to work with the FAA because you need a check ride every year, and so on and so forth. The airplane has to be properly maintained. There are only a few people who can do that when you get into the esoteric aspects of the airplane.
Now, once you got it airworthy, was there a lot of wrinkles to iron out?
We did have one wrinkle. We had a prop failure. We had to shut the engine down and make a precautionary landing, but we fixed it that day and continued to fly.
Wow.
So it's
great story. Thanks for sharing this airplane with us here today.
my pleasure.
A lot more wings right here in Chicopee, Massachusetts on Cruisin' New England.
Order a bunch of parts to get ready for the car show this weekend?
And I got a hot deal, too.
You think? Think again.
Oh, man.
Tired of back orders? You need NPD. With 4 strategically located superstores, orders are shipped direct to your door within 1 to 3 business days. National Parts Depot has quality restoration parts for Ford Truck, Mustang, Camaro, Chevelle, and Firebird. For your free catalog, visit NPD online or call toll-free.
Find out what's happening. Get up-to-date information as I travel throughout New England and beyond. To get exclusive information and behind-the-scenes photos, join me on Facebook. I'm Paul Minette of Cruisin' New England at McMulkin Chevrolet. McMulkin has shipments arriving weekly of the new C7 Corvette.
People from all over the country buy their Corvettes from McMulkin Chevrolet to get the highest level of value and service.
McMulkin Chevrolet always has over 250 Corvettes in stock in their 3-story climate-controlled building. Remember, all roads lead to McMulkin Chevrolet. Check them out at mcmulkin.net.
The Thompson Auto Group.
When September comes, the party begins. Cruise on over to the Big E in West Springfield, Massachusetts, September the 12th through the 28th.
Would you like to see more Cruisin' New England television? Now you can watch Cruisin' New England every day on our website television show. See past episodes featuring premier automobile collections, memorabilia, automobilia, and car shows. You'll see our visit with Charles Gould and his Matchbox Motors Microcar Museum, the Chevy Guy, John Broden's car collection and automobilia, and a whole lot more. Join us on our website television show at cruisinNewEngland.com.
Don't miss the Amherst Outdoor Antique Auto Show and Flea Market, Amherst, New Hampshire, the last Sunday of the month, April through October. Over 500 spots. Gates open at 6 a.m. with free admission.
We're back. We're in Chicopee, Massachusetts at the Great New England Wings and Wheels Show. I'm here with Dan DeMeo. Tell us what your role is in this show today.
We're out of Long Island, and we're invited up here to bring some of our airplanes out of Farmingdale, Long Island, the American Air Power Museum. We have 6 airplanes here today of ours, and 3 fighters, 1 trainer next door here, and a C-47 cargo plane and a B-25 Mitchell bomber.
So what are we going to have a look at first?
Well, here we are standing in front of this beautiful restored Corsair F4U. It's also called the FG-1D, but we'll call it the F4U for today. It's a beautiful airplane, as you can see. It's carrier-based, the wings fold. It's got a 2,000 horsepower radial engine in it, R2800 from Pratt & Whitney, a great aircraft engine manufacturer. The plane goes to most air shows. This is a static show, as you know. Normally we fly them aerobatics, low level over the ground, smoke systems and all that good stuff.
Well, what was it used before it became aerobatic plane?
Well, it was used this was made in 1943. Most of the airplanes that flew combat are stuck in the ocean someplace. After the war, they just got rid of them all.
So Dan, what would this plane have done in its heyday?
Well, in its heyday, it was used as actually a training plane. It never left the States. You can tell by the fact it doesn't have a bulletproof windshield, but it did do gunnery, it did do dive bombing. The fellows would get in this airplane after they learned to fly the airplane next to it. When they were comfortable in that airplane, this only has 1 seat. And when you read the manual, they ask you to blindfold you and touch all. They ask you for identifying different parts of the cockpit, and then they pat you on the back and say, okay, fly it.
Wow, Dan, this is a beautiful airplane. What are we going to have a look at next?
We'll look at the plane that the boys trained in before they got to fly a single-seat airplane. Let's go look at it. Watch properly.
So Dan, this is a trainer?
Yeah, this was the advanced trainer. They called them an AT-6, and the Navy called it SNJ. It was designed in like 1939 and went into massive production. These were flown by every pilot that flew in the Air Force and Navy. Until they mastered this, they didn't go any farther.
So this was the key to the whole military, right here?
It was the key. This was it. They nicknamed it the pilot maker because you weren't a pilot till you got through this one.
So Dan, what makes this a great trainer?
It's a very demanding airplane for landing and taking off. The gear is very narrow, and because of that, it had a tendency to ground loop, which means as it got a little bit slower, it would spin wings around and usually ding the right wing. As you can see, those are disc brakes, which didn't exist in 1939. They had drum brakes like old truck brakes with a drum and an expander on it, and they were lousy. And if you taxied too far to the end of the runway, you had no brakes for takeoff. So it could get away from you. That made it very demanding. The guys had to be pretty sharp.
Dan, tell us what kind of engine.
This is a 1340 Pratt & Whitney. It's developed 600 horsepower. Not even a quarter of what that Corsair puts out at full power.
Oh, what type of speed would you get on an airplane?
Well, it's a fairly slow speed airplane. It does 140 knots, which is like 160 miles an hour. And that's about as much as you can cruise it at. Of course, it has red lines. It'll dive down to quite a good speed of 260 knots.
So this was your airplane. How do you feel now that it's in a museum?
Oh, I still touch it. Actually, and I still fly it.
Well, I'm anxious to see some of the other ones.
Let's go look.
Ian, this looks like it came right from the motion picture Flying Tigers.
Well, I'll tell you, it's the same type airplane, the same paint job. This is actually a paint job from when the Air Force, Air Corps, Army Air Corps took it over from Chennault's Flying Tigers in 1943. There's a little bit later model. This was manufactured in 1944. As you can see, it uses a different engine. It's the exhaust pipes come out the side. This is actually a V12 engine, 2 banks of 6, and it's liquid cooled as opposed to the radials that are air cooled. This airplane came out of the Aleutian Islands at the end of World War II. You can see it has the bulletproof windshield, the flat part in the front. It carried also 650 caliber machine guns, this model.
3 on each side, right?
3 on each side. And it did also carry a single bomb under the middle, or a gas tank, whichever the mission required.
A lot more from the great New England Wings and Wheels show right here on Cruisin' New England. Welcome to the Town Fair Tire Recognition Award Series. Each week we're going to be giving away an award to recognize a classic car owner throughout New England. I'm here with Jim Giuliano. He's the Vice President of Marketing and Advertising for Town Fair Tire.
Paul, Town Fair Tire is a proud sponsor of the Recognition Award Series. At the end of the series, we're going to have a Town Fair Tire Choice Award winner for the $500 gift certificate.
It's going to be very exciting. Jim, I want to introduce you to Frank Gizzi, and this is his 1968 Chevy Suburban.
Frank, tell us about your Suburban.
Well, it's a full restoration. It has fuel injection, and we use it as a daily driver.
It's really awesome looking. On behalf of Town Fair Tire, I'd like to present you with a gift certificate and your trophy.
Thank you.
Get to Town Fair Tire. You always get free mounting, free flat repair, free tire rotation, free snow tire changeover. Drive with confidence. Nobody beats Town Fair Tire. Nobody. Town Fair Tire.
We're back, and I'm with Dan Jackie's Revenge. What do we have here?
It's a P-47 Thunderbolt with the same engine as that Corsair had earlier. It is a little bit more horsepower, 2,200 horsepower. It swings a 4-bladed prop, which is massive.
So how is this armed?
The aircraft was armed with 8 50 caliber machine guns that put out an awful range. They're tapered in to a 300 yards to a pattern like this.
Let's talk about the canopy on this.
Okay. Originally they had what they call a razorback. They had limited visibility for the pilot. The pilot had 1 mirror over top or something, 2 sometimes, but he couldn't turn his head left and right and see anything. So they developed the D, there's a D model, D for Delta, and it's a sliding bubble canopy.
What type of speeds does this airplane?
Oh, this thing comes downhill like a manhole cover. I mean, it's 7.5 tons, and when it points the nose down, it just goes like a bandit. Without any trouble, you can put 400 miles an hour on this thing and it died.
Dan, what do we have a look at next?
Next, we're going to go down the line and we're going to see a C-47 cargo plane. It did cargo. We'll talk about it when we get down there. Paul, we're going to see another airplane now. It's our C-47 cargo transport parachute aircraft.
It's multi-use too, isn't it?
Oh, it did everything. This was a workhorse of the Burma hump men that flew back and forth to supply the Chinese. It was a plane that took all our paratroopers. We still have the lights on and the wire that they did their static jump on. The lights, the green light, red light, time to get out, routine. The aircraft has never been in civilian hands until we got it.
Was there any guns on this, or was this strictly for cargo?
This carried there's litters in there for carrying wounded soldiers back out of the battle lines. This plane can land on grass fields, sand, hard sand. It also, in Vietnam, was used, they called it Puff the Magic Dragon. They had Gatling guns down the side. The pilot flew a circular pattern. He aimed over his shoulder and made a circle and could clear out an area this large with 1 million bullets. Wow. I mean, that's an exaggeration, of course, but they would have 4 to 6 Gatling guns spinning around there, laying out lead, and pulverize an area of a couple of football fields.
Wow, awesome.
Awesome firepower.
Well, it's an awesome airplane. What are we going to have a look at now?
We have one more plane. This is kind of our flagship. It's called a B-25 Mitchell.
Let's go have a look
Let's take a look at it.
Dan, when I think of the Silver Bullet, I think of the Lone Ranger.
Well, this Silver Bullet came number 4 off the assembly line in North America. They built this plane. Originally it had straight wings, which is nothing. It didn't work. They put that gull wing on it. It was up there. Got the propellers a little higher off the ground. Good airplane. It's one that the Doolittle Raiders used off the Hornet to attack Japan in April of '42. Only a couple months after Pearl Harbor, gave them a wake-up call.
So Dan, what type of arms was on this?
The final armament on this plane was 4,000 pounds of bombs in a Bombay door, the Norden bomb sight and a gunner in the front, a rear gunner and a top turret gunner, and 2 side gunners through the side door. They had a pretty good sized crew and a pretty good sized bomb load on it. The airplane was used in every theater of World War II. Africa, went to Italy, Sicily, all through Europe, and naturally the Pacific.
Well, I tell you, you have a great collection of airplanes here today from the American Air Power Museum.
Farmingdale, Long Island.
Thanks for sharing it with us here today.
My pleasure. Thanks, Paul.
When we come back, a lot more Cruisin' New England right here in Chicopee, Massachusetts.
Hi, my name is Neil Murley, Murley's Car Care Center. We are Southern New England's Sunoco race fuel dealer. Save on Sunoco race fuel right off Route 3 in Weymouth Heights. And good luck on the track.
These are the faces of childhood food allergies. To these kids, it's not about the inconvenience of restricting peanut products and other food allergens at school or at camp. To more than 6 million of our precious children, it can be a matter of life and death. Help us keep all of our children safe. Learn to recognize allergic reactions. Know the facts about food allergies.
Visit the Wood Museum of Springfield History in Springfield, Mass., home of the world's largest Indian motorcycle collection, and Springfield-built cars like Rolls-Royce and the Duryea. Check out Cruisin New England Productions website. You'll see updated information about our fun car show series, including the Magical Mystery Cruise, the Circle of Champions, the Super Wheel Showdown, and the Spooktacular Cruisin' Classic. Also subscribe to Cruisin New England magazine. We feature some of the hottest rides in the Northeast along with event listings and a whole lot more. Don't miss a single issue. And if you want more information about sponsorships, advertising, or personal appearances by Paul Manette, email us at cruisenewengland@aol.com.
In the market for new tires? There's only one place to go. Town Fair Tire. We beat anyone, any day. Online prices? We beat them. Wholesale clubs? Other tire dealers? We beat them. No matter what the brand or the size, Town Fair Tire will beat any price, any day. And you always get all these services free. That's why nobody beats Town Fair Tire. Nobody.
Name brands at discount prices. Town Fair Tire.
We're back, and I'm here with John Race. This is a beautiful airplane. Tell me about it.
This is a 1940 Waco UPF-7. Waco Aircraft Companies was in Troy, Ohio. It was the biggest aircraft manufacturing company in the United States in the 30s. It's long gone now, of course, but they built all sorts of different models of biplanes, cabin Wacos like this.
Awesome.
It's been restored 3 times since we've had it, yeah.
Hey, can we take it up in the air?
You bet we can,
All right,
yeah.
well, let's go. Okay, I'm going in the front, right?
Step right on the seat, it's okay.
I look like John Belushi or what? One other time, but this is a beauty. Looks like the Red Baron.
Yeah, it's been in our family since the 50s. My father was actually an instructor in the Wacos prior to his service in Europe.
Unbelievable that you would own the plane for that long.
Yes,
That's awesome.
It's been restored 3 times since we've had it, yeah. This one was built as for the civil pilot training program leading up to the Second World War. So it was an advanced trainer for teaching cadets.
Hey, listen, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I appreciate it. It was wonderful. You took the time out to take me up there, and I
Sure.
appreciate it.
Yeah, let's party, man.
This looks pretty nice, huh? The show, car show, yeah? Nice. What do you think? All right, awesome. Awesome. Hey, here it is. Thank you, I appreciate it. I want to thank everyone here today at the inaugural Wings and Wheels show here in Chicopee, Massachusetts. I'm Paul Manette. Until next time, I'll be cruising New England.